Chapter 2. The Pool of Tears. Treasure and Treasure, said Alice. She was so much surprised that for a moment the squid forgot how speak good English. Now I'm opening out like the least telescope that ever was. Goodbye, feet. For when she looked down at her feet, they seemed to be almost outside. They were saying in some form of, "Oh, my poor little feet, I will put on your shorts and stockings for you now. Dears, I'm sure all shall be able. I shall be a great deal too full of to trouble myself about you. You must manage the best way you can, but I must be kind to them. Talk Alice, and perhaps they won't walk the way I want to go. Let me see. I'll give them a new pair of boots every Christmas." And she went off planning to herself how she would manage it. They must go by the carrier. She thought, and how funny it seemed sending present to one of it, and how out the direction will look. Oh dear, what nonsense I'm talking. Just at this moment her head struck against the roof of the hall. In fact, she was no rather more than 9 feet high, and she had stood up, the little golden key, and her feet off to the garden door. Poor Alice! It was as much as she could do, lying down on one side to look through into the garden with one eye, but to get through was more helpless than ever. She sat down and began to try again. "You ought to be ashamed of yourself," said Alice. "A great girl like you," she might say this, "to go on crying this way. Stop this moment, I tell you." But she went on all the same, shedding gallons of tears, until there was a rush pool all around her, about 4 inches deep, and reaching off down her. After a time she had a little pattering of feet in the distance, and she hastily dried her eyes to see what was coming. It was the white rabbit returning splendidly dressed, with a pair of white kid gloves in one hand and a large fan in the other. He came trotting along in a great hurry, muttering to himself a scream. "Oh, the darkness, the darkness! Oh, won't she be savage if I kept her waiting?" Alice felt so desperate that she was ready to ask help of anyone. So, when the rabbits came near her, she began in a low, timid voice, "If you please, sir." The rabbit started violently, dropped the bright guide gloves and the fan, and squared away into the darkness as hard as he could go. Alice took up the fan and gloves, and the hall was very hot. She came running herself all the time she went on talking. There, I've killed everything today, and yesterday things went on just as usual. I wonder I've been changed in the night. Let me think. Was I the same when I got up this morning? I almost think I can remember feeling a little different. But I am not the same. The next question is, what the world I am? Ah, that's the great puzzle. And she began thinking of all the children. She knew that were of the same. Against herself to see if you called change have hope for any of them. "I'm sure I'm not other," she said, "for had high girls in sugar ringlets, and mine does go in rags at all. And I'm sure I can be marble, for I know all sorts of things, and she knows just of very little. Besides she and oh there, how puzzling is it all is. I'll tell you, if I know all the things as you know. Let me see. 4 times 5 is 12, and 4 times 6 is 13, and 4 times 7 is is oh yeah, is shall never get to 20 at the dead rate. However, the multiplication table don't significantly. Let's try geography. London is the capital of Paris, and Paris is the capital of Rome, and Rome, not that's all wrong, I'm certain. I must have been saying, for Mabel, I try and say, how do the little, and she crossed her hands on her laps, as if she were saying listen, and began to repeat it, but her voice and her strength, and the words did not come the same as to do. "I'm sure those are not the right words," said poor Alice, and her eyes felt the tears against as went on. "I must be Mabel after all, and I shall have to go and live in the pokey little house, and have next to no toys to play with, And oh, I have so many lessons to learn. No, maybe make up my mind about it. If I'm able, I'd stay down here. I'll be no use. They putting their heads down, saying, "Come up again there." I saw only like often say, "Who am I?" Then tell me that first, and then if I like being the person, I'll come up. If not, I stay down here until I'm somebody else. But oh, they cried Alice with a student burst of tears. I do wish they want to put heads down. I'm so very tired of being all alone here. As she said, this is locked down and her hands so surprised to see what she had put on one of the rabbit's little white kid. Gloves while she was talking. How can I have done that? She thought. I must be growing small again. She got up and went to the table to measure herself by it, and found that as nearly as she could guess, she was now about 2 feet high, and was going on sinking rapidly. She soon found out that the cause of this was the fan she was holding, and she dropped it hastily, just time to save herself from sinking away altogether. "That was an narrow escape," said Alice. "A good ideal fit that. A student change, but very glad to find herself still an exist once. And now for the garden." And she ran with all speed back to the little door. But alas, the little door was gone, and the little garden lay in table as before, and things are worse than ever to the poor little, for I never was so small as this before, never. And I will and declare it's too bad that is this. As she said, this was her first rate, and another moment's place. She was up to her chin in salt water. Her first idea was that she had somehow fallen into the sea. And in that case, I can go back by railway, she said to herself. However, she soon made out that she was in the pool of terrorists. She had wept when she was 9 feet high. "I wish I hadn't cried so much," said Alice as she swam about trying to find her way out. "I shall be punished for it now, I suppose, by being drowned in my own tears. That will be a queer thing to be sure, if ever everything is queer today." Just then she heard something splashing about in the pool a little way off, and she swam nearer to make out what it was. At first, she thought it must be a walrus or hippopotamus, but then she remembered how small she was now, and she soon made out that it was only a mouse that had spread like herself. Would it be of any use? No, took Alice to expect to be mouse. Everything is so the way grown here that asserting very likely it can talk. At any rate, there's no harm in trying. So she began. "Oh, mouse, do you know the way out of this pool? I'm very tired swimming about a mouse." Alice thought this must be the right way of speaking to a mush. She had never done such a thing before, but she remembered having seen in her brother's Latin grammar a mouse of a mouse. To a mouse, the mouse looked at her inquisitively and seemed to hate to wink with one of his little eyes, but it's nothing. "Perhaps it doesn't understand English," thought Alice. "I dare say it's a French mouse come over with William the Conqueror." For with all her knowledge of history, Alice had no very clear notion how long ago anything had happened. So she began again. "Oh, as much," which was the first sentence in her French lesson book. The mouse have a student leapt out of the water and seeming to quiver all over with fright. "Oh, I beg your pardon," cried Alice, actually afraid that she had hurt the poor animal's feelings. "I could forget you didn't like cats." "Not like cats," cried a mouse in shrill person's voice. "Would you like cats if you were me?" "Well, perhaps not," said Alice in a soothing tone. "Don't bring about it. And yet I wish I could show you all, Cadina. I think you'd take a fancy to cats if you could only see her. She is such a delicate thing," Alice went on, half to herself as she swam lazily about in the pool. and she sits pulling so nicely by the fire, licking her paws and washing her face, and she shouts a nice soft thing the nuts, and she shouts a choppy capital, one more catching mice. Oh, I beg your pardon, cried Alice again. For this time the mouse was breathing all over, and she felt certain it must be really offended. We won't talk about her anymore if you rather not. We ended, cried the mouse, who was trembling down to the end of his tail, as if all world talk on such subject. Her family always had chats, nasty, low, vulgar things. Don't let me hear the name again. I won't indeed, said Alice in a regret. Hurry to change to the subject of conversation. Are you fond of dogs? The mouse did not answer, so Alice went on angrily. There is such a nice little dog. Now, oh hush, I should like to show you a little break I train with. Oh, let's so little things when you throw and sit up with fundamental sort of things. I can remember how of them and belongs to a farmer. And he say it's so useful, it's worth 100 pounds. He say it's kill the rats and all that. Okay, again. Foremost was swimming away from as hard as could go and making quick composition, and the pole is away. She called softly after it. Most there, do come back again. Do come back again, and we won't talk about cats or dogs either if you don't like them. When the mouse had this, it turned round and swam slowly back to her, its face quick pearl. And it said in a long, trembling voice, "Let us get to the store. So, and then I'll tell you my story, and you'll understand why it's a head cats and the dogs." It was high time to go, for the pool was getting quite crowded with the birds and animals that had fallen into it. There was Doc and Dodo, Lori and Angelit and several Alice. The way and the whole party swam to the shore.